So good morning, Derek here on Coffee with Derek, coming to you from Madison Ave Studios in Owego. And we come to you on YouTube, Facebook, and podcast. So please like, subscribe, follow, however you're listening. And today we're going to talk about the studio and kind of where me and Stevie came into know each other.
I'm Steve.
So Steve is here. Welcome. And grab some coffee and let's do this. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Steve, how we doing?
We're doing good.
So today I wanted to bring you in because a lot of people have been asking me about, the studio and how this all came about.
Yeah.
And so let's start off. So I guess the first couple of questions are, the who. So like who is Madison Ave Studios?
Okay, so it's essentially a home studio that we have out above a garage behind our house. And really where this all started, I mean, I started playing musical instruments when I was a kid, like third grade piano, then fifth grade guitar, seventh grade drums, and just kept adding on instruments and played in bands in high school and college and just always had an interest in making music. And so long story short, my wife and I both just have a passion for music. A lot of our kids do music. And so when we bought this house 4 years ago, I already had some recording equipment and we just started adding, we had this dedicated room and we just really just started the whole thing to record our own music. And over the last year, I've been really focusing on trying to make it more professional. Just feeling like there was some things that, I could do from a skill standpoint. I've been doing a lot of the videos at our church. And so video stuff, audio stuff, music stuff. And I just have been really focusing on trying to get a professional level studio, not knowing, what would come about. And ironically, this is one of the things that's come about in the last year.
It's
that
cool.
A year ago, I didn't even know was going to happen. So,
yeah. So what? So people ask me, I'm getting feedback on, the mic and how to wear things and how everything looks. But what can you say? What can you tell us about like some of the equipment that goes into this?
So,
because I know you've been like kind of piecing all things together.
Yeah. So for example, I've never done anything like this, the podcast thing before. I've done videos and interview videos and different things for churches, testimonial type videos. But for this, certainly it's been a learning experience. So we got some new mics. These are the Shure SM7Bs for you techie people out there.
Whatever he said.
Yeah. And, we're shooting this on a Canon T6i camera. And we got a green screen behind us. It looks like a wooden pallet wall that Derek built, but it's really not. And so we record the audio separate into my computer, and then we take the video later and stitch it all together in a couple different Adobe programs, Premiere and After Effects. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it from a technical standpoint, but some people get by with a real, simple setup. And
yeah, this is pretty great. I mean, this is beyond the realm of my capabilities for sure. So the where is we're in Owego, New York.
Yeah,
it's the southern tier for people listening that aren't from our area or our direct friends. We're in upstate New York, just north of the Pennsylvania border. Matter of fact, Stevie's church right now is in Pennsylvania, the one he attends, and his wife. But we're just a little bit outside of Binghamton, just west of Binghamton. in the New England area. So right now is a beautiful day out.
Yep.
And last couple weeks the weather's been crazy. Anybody from upstate New York knows we could literally have all 4 seasons in one day. I know a lot of people talk about that, but the legit happens here more often than not. So you covered, the when and how. So when you started to play your music, you also started a band too, right? So is that the first thing you guys did?
Yeah. So my wife and I, we play in a band here locally called Messy Truth.
Yep.
So we play at bars and benefits and parties and weddings and things like that. So that's something that we enjoy. My wife is also the musical director at our church, the worship leader.
Cool.
So we do that on Sundays, and we do on the weekends. Sometimes we're playing out with the band. We also have 5 kids that are between 17 and 12. So
and you said all of them play some sort of music, right?
They all do.
All 5
at some level. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
that is awesome. Some of them I've heard.
Yeah, so we've thought about getting a Volkswagen van and just touring the country as a family band, but I don't think the kids are into that.
Yeah,
but,
instead of the Partridge Family, right?
Yeah.
The Johnson family.
Johnson family.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. When you get an RV, it is 2018.
That's true.
Finding an RV.
That's true.
It'll be hard pressed to find a wagon anymore. So, so me and Steve. So our history is, I don't know, 8 years ago or so.
Probably 8,
9 years ago. We met in a small group, led by the church that I attend now. That's where it all started from. And then, our paths crossed then. And then, over the years, we've been friends. And then, a couple months ago, we were sitting down having dinner. And then you said you're building this studio and you didn't really know what was going to come of it. Yep. So I was like, hey, have you ever thought of podcasting? And here we are.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's
that's very
crazy.
Cool. So you said you do other things for the church and whatnot?
Yeah. So I do. I mean, obviously I play mostly guitar at church when I play. But I also run the soundboard at church some. And all the different videos they do, there's like some bumper videos before the pastor gets up and preaches. I do those. Different promotional things. If we have a baptism coming up or something, I'll do videos for that stuff. Announcement videos, do some interviews. Last year, we took 30 of our teenagers up to Darien Lake for this Kingdom Bound Festival. So I took a ton of pictures while we were up there with the kids and then put together a video after to show all the, show the church what went on there. And so, yeah, so that keeps me busy. That's a lot of fun. That ties in with what you said in the previous podcast, volunteering.
Sure.
None of that stuff's paid, but it's, it's a way to give back. I'm very blessed just with the different experiences I've had and the abilities to learn a lot of this stuff. But really, one of the things that you've talked about recently was about dreams and goals. And, for about a 10-year period of time, when my kids were first born and they were little, I barely did anything with music or recording or anything. I had a desire, but growing up, my dad was, all I remember my dad doing growing up was just projects around the house, like fixing the deck or working on the house, remodeling a room, something like that. And I remember going up in the attic when I was a kid and seeing golf clubs and bowling balls and stuff. I'm like, Dad, you used to golf? Well, yeah, I golfed before you guys were born. You used to bowl? Oh, yeah, I was in the bowling league before you guys were born. But once me and my brother and sister were born, it's like he gave up all his hobbies and all his passions and just did stuff around the house. And I actually got into that mode when my kids were born. I'd still play guitar at church on Sunday or a couple Sundays a month, but I didn't do anything other than, stuff around the house.
Right.
And so about 4 years ago, when my wife and we got married, blended family, she's into music, all the kids are kind of into music. I'm like, you know what? I want to change. I want to go after some of the things that are, these desires of mine. And it's been a process, but now I look around and it's like, wow, we have a lot of stuff here, and it's
Yeah, this place is crazy.
But I went for like 10 years and I didn't buy a guitar. I barely bought strings for my guitar.
That's criminal.
And there's something exciting about just going after your passions,
No,
So-
absolutely. Absolutely. And for years, I did the same thing. And, you say about your dad, like, I kid around with my dad too. Like, before me and my sister were born, he had a motorcycle and a snowmobile and a Jeep. And, he'd same thing, gave up all that stuff right around the same time. And then I did it when my kids were born. I gave up my motorcycles, my ATVs. Like, I just didn't have any time. So I gave it all up. And now I'm realizing that could be time well spent with the family. So, we prioritize a lot of things that we didn't before, like going on vacations, make sure that we do family vacations and stuff like that. So, no, I get that. It's pretty crazy. And, the paths that brought us back together is even kind of crazy, because your wife and my wife recently did, the women's retreat up in the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, because his wife was the worship leader, right? That's what she did.
Yep.
She was the worship leader at the retreat, and my wife was the MC. And so, paths crossing again brought us back here. And then, I guess the rest is history. We're looking at, podcast number 8. Hopefully we're encouraging some people and, bringing some light, and we can bring some hope into some lives. And, the volunteering aspect of it, church and whatnot, I do some teams at my church that we volunteer, and I since have had to leave the volunteer fire department, but I did that for 22 years, and it's nice to be able to give back to the community. And I surely appreciate what you guys have been doing for the podcast, so that's been pretty cool. And I'm getting some good feedback, so hopefully this is something we can continue to grow, and maybe encourage somebody else to step up and want to do something cool here at the Madison Ave Studios. It's definitely cool.
No, and I think, you and I have talked a lot about, and really it's just a learning curve for both of us, but, what are the next steps? How do we actually get some phone calls in here?
Right.
How do we tie in people on Skype or some other thing to interview other people far away? I mean, you have a lot of people that you're working with in your health industry that be great to interview.
Yeah, big players.
So maybe you're watching this right now and you're thinking, hey, how do I get on the Coffee with Derek program? Well,
let me know.
Let them know. And
I know my friend Cecilia wants to do something, and she's overseas, like 12 hours. I can't think of where she is exactly, either Thailand or one of those. And we're trying to figure out how to make that work.
Yeah.
How to make it work so it's, conducive to what we're doing, but also, I guess, fluid enough that, it doesn't just seem like a phone call in the middle of nowhere. But no, it's definitely cool. And, we'll as long as people are watching them, we'll keep bringing them. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know. It's up to you. It's your place.
Yeah. And maybe you're out there and you're thinking, I want to have my own podcast, Well,
Or YouTube channel.
Or
That's
YouTube
another
channel.
thing. We're trying to incorporate the children too. So we've been talking about our children want to do a YouTube with some of the gaming stuff that they do. So we've been talking about that as well.
Yeah.
Whole nother aspect of things. So it's great. Again, Madison Ave Studios. You do have a website, right?
Yep. It's MadisonAveStudios.com. And there's some projects out there we've done with music, with my wife and I, and then some other folks that we know. I think our oldest son, he has a couple songs out there. So I mean, it's
cool. Check it out.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, we just want to thank you for watching today. And so this is Madison Ave Studios. This is Stevie J. I'm Derek.
All right.
And thanks for joining us.